The story that scripture tells us about is the children of Israel. God was painting this amazing vision. Think about a people group that had been enslaved for 400 years in Egyptian bondage, had built a lot of the great pyramids, etc. And then God raising up a deliverer named Moses. And so then Moses says, I'm going to take you to a land flowing with milk and honey. God was saying this to that group of people. And that group of people sent 12 spies to confirm what God said. And they said, you know what? Everything God told us about this land is good, but the land is a land that eats the inhabitants thereof. So even though God was trying to paint one picture, I say that he told them about the land, and he even told them about the problem. He told them about the Hivites, the Hittites, the Jebusites, the Girgashites, the Amalekites, and I like to say the mosquito bites. But he told them that there was all of these problems there, but he would still give them victory. They said, no, this is a land that eats the inhabitants thereof. They called it bad, what I like to call badlands. They said this was a place that was a difficult place. And they said, there are giants in the land. We knew that there were giants because he told us that there were these inhabitants there. But the thing that they said that really affected them is they said that they were grasshoppers in their own eyes. And that's the way that their enemies saw them. And so the problem was never the giants out there. It was the grasshoppers in here. And so I want to encourage you to get wisdom on how God sees you, because image is the ability to see yourself within yourself as God sees you and as God is. Image is the ability within yourself to see yourself as God sees you and as God is. Now, why do we say it's the ability to see yourself as God is? Because Genesis 1, the book of beginnings, tells us that God said, let us make man in our image after our likeness. So when God created, and I've spent a lot of time, decades even, studying the creation account from scripture, what you see is that God is a God of purpose, that God expresses purpose in pictures, but that when God created, that he created from pictures within himself, but when he created man, he himself was the picture. So God created you in his image and to function in his likeness. And so God intends for you, like he is, to be a creator, to be a giver, to be a lover, to be someone that's benevolent, creative, capable, powerful, and to have dominion, to have a significant leadership role in the earth. And that's what you were created for. And his wisdom is available to you wherever you are, to start from where you are and to end up in the life that he has for you. I have some notes here that I just want to share with you about the wisdom of God. This is really important to me because wisdom changes everything. If you can get wisdom, your whole life changes. Wisdom, again, is words that inspire success, dominion, order, and multiplication. And so I just want to share with you some notes about the book of wisdom, the book of Proverbs. I love what the scripture tells us about that book in Proverbs chapter 1, verses 1 through 7. I'll read it out of the Amplified Bible. It says, the Proverbs, truths obscurely expressed, maxims and parables of Solomon, son of David, king of Israel. Now, here's the reason why that he gave it to you, that people may know skillful and godly wisdom and instruction, discern and comprehend the words of understanding and insight, receive instruction in wise dealing, and the discipline of wise thoughtfulness. The discipline of wise thoughtfulness. righteousness, justice, and integrity, that prudence may be given to the simple, and knowledge, discretion, and discernment to the youth. The wise also will hear and increase in learning, and the person of understanding will acquire skill and attain to sound counsel, that he may be able to steer his course rightly. I love that. I love the way the Amplified Classic Bible describes this passage of scripture. God sent the Proverbs so that you could steer your life well. You don't have to make a mess and then figure out that you went wrong. He would actually show you, here's the right way to turn when you're faced with difficult situations. And then it says that people may understand a proverb and a figure of speech or an enigma with its interpretation, and the words of the wise and their dark sayings are riddles. So I have my acrostic definition. Can you tell I have a bunch of acrostic definitions? A proverb is a principle revealed, ordered, and verbalized to excel the recipient in the blessing. Let me say that again. A proverb is a principle revealed, ordered, and verbalized to excel the recipient, the person who receives it, in the blessing. God had Solomon and other authors take the time to gather these principles and maxims to put them in a structure that they could be easily digested and internalized. And if you actually internalize them and you take the time to meditate their meaning and apply them to your life, you will accelerate your whole life in terms of walking in the blessing.
Communicate with me on this particular channel. Subscribe to it.